What's up, guys? Today we're going to be going over the UFC 264 Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier press conference. I'm just going to give some of my thoughts on it. I just watched it a few hours ago, so thought I'd make a video on it. So basically, press conferences, they normally don't really, they're not, they're not an exact representation of where a fighter is at mentally. They're not an exact representation of who is going to win the fight, who is more confident. We've seen fights before where the guy who seems like they're going to win the fight based on the press conference ends up losing the fight. I mean, the most recent one that I can think of, it's a boxing one, not a real boxing one, but it's the Jake Paul versus Ben Askren press conference. Go take another look at that press conference and then tell me who you think is going to win the fight based off of watching that. I mean, Ben Askren basically destroyed Jake Paul in all of the press conferences that they had. Every single interaction that they had, Ben Askren won, except for the actual fight itself, which is the one that matters the most. So let's go over this press conference and let's discuss, let's see who won this press conference. So overall, right off the bat, let's just start at the beginning when Connor took those little hot sauce things. I don't know what those are, but apparently Dustin, like, I'm just gonna guess that he has a company where he makes his own hot sauce. Possibly it's a promotion that he has, but he seems pretty personally attached to it, so I'd guess that it's his actual business. So Connor came in and immediately he took those and then threw them. It was kind of funny because you could tell that Dana was saying, like, put them back, and then immediately after Dana told him that, he just immediately just threw them into the crowd. So that was kind of funny, but um, you know, right off the bat, that kind of made me a little excited because it seems like that's something I guess the old Connor would do, not the newer, humbler Connor who's got that Floyd Mayweather boxing match money, who's living on a 300-foot yacht. Um, you know, this seems like something that he would have done back in the day. So that made me happy to see him do stuff like that. But then, as the press conference continued, it seemed more and more as if he was just kind of putting on an act. It seemed, and a lot of people in the comment section were saying the same thing. I noticed there were a lot of comments saying that, Connor's just pretending. They're saying, like, oh, it's kind of cringe. They're saying that he's trying to convince himself he's the best instead of trying to get in Poirier's head. And it did seem that way a bit if you're looking for it and paying attention. But I wonder how Poirier reacted to that because he seemed, of course his reaction that he showed to everyone else watching is that he doesn't really care about Connor's trash talk this time around. Connor's trash talk, it wasn't the best that it's ever been, but it was definitely there this time as opposed to the last press conference where he was, respectful and humble and everything. And he ended up losing that fight. This time he's definitely acting like his normal crazy self, which I think is a combination of how he actually acts and him kind of playing it up for to hype up the match and to, make more money during the match and to, you know, just like bring more eyes to the sport and everything like that. But this time it seemed more as if he was just doing it to hype up the match as opposed to that's how he actually acts. It seemed like he wasn't quite his normal self yet and he was just trying to pretend to be his normal self and kind of like lean into it a bit more. So that's kind of how it seemed to me. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but I know there were a lot of comments saying similar things. They might have just been haters or something, but it did seem that way a bit. So that's what I have to say on Connor. And if we move over to Dustin now, he actually seemed like he really didn't care. It seemed like he actually did not care about Connor's trash talk. He said that multiple times, and I actually do believe it to be true. So it seems like Dustin is solid. It seems like he's got a good mindset coming into this. I'm not saying that Connor doesn't have a good mindset. It seemed like he was simply just trying to sell the fight more. I don't actually know how he feels coming into this confidence-wise. he didn't really show that too much in the press conference. Of course, he answered the questions, but he answered it in the old crazy Conor McGregor style fashion way where he's just throwing insults left and right. But when it comes to Dustin, it seemed like he is solid. It seems like he's ready for the fight, and of course we're gonna see. So overall, for this press conference, the winner might actually be Dustin, but I don't know. It might be a draw because Conor was doing his, crazy Conor McGregor shtick while Dustin was over there acting. I don't know if he was acting or if he really didn't, but he was at least acting as if he doesn't care at all. Um, Conor threw the, hot sauce into the crowd. He threw a kick at Dustin during the face-off. Dustin kind of shrugged it off. Didn't really look like it affected him, but I mean, I'm looking at Google right now. There's like just a ton of articles about that kick that he threw. That's like what all of these UFC articles are about, are the Conor McGregor throwing a kick at Dustin during the face-off. But overall, who won the press conference, the pre-fight press conference? I'm going to say that it's about a draw because of how differently they acted. Dustin had a few good jabs at Conor, verbal jabs, not actual jabs. But he threw a couple good jokes at Conor, and but Conor didn't really respond to them, and Dustin didn't respond to any of Conor's insults really that well. So, we're gonna see in the end who wins the fight. But when it comes to the press conference, I'm going to give it a draw between the two. Neither one of them really seemed to get into the other's head, so that's what you would need to do in order to win the press conference. So yeah, that's about all I got for this video. Thanks everyone for watching. It's a draw for the press conference for UFC 264 between Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier. So I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.